Hello, today I want to talk to you about the fact that I am now another year older. I am 35 years old. My birthday was last weekend, and I wanted to come on here and just talk to you about aging and where I feel I am at this stage in my life, and how often we as women, you know what, scratch that. Let's just take it back. Many women, often of other demographics, do not feel a sense of pride in aging, right? It's about, how do I remain looking young? How do I remain keeping my skin fresh, et cetera, et cetera? Goodness, I'm getting older, all of those things. For me, I feel the opposite. I feel good. I feel good. I feel like, I'm achieving the things that, one, I never thought I would ever achieve. I came from a very tumultuous upbringing and childhood, and the things that I have achieved, I never thought would be possible for me. I used to dream of some of the things that I've achieved, and so for me, when I age and I have another trip around the sun, I don't look at it with misery. I don't look at it with sadness. And I've had many, many conversations with women, specifically white women, who, because that's kind of, again, who I often have found myself around, um, who feel the complete opposite. There is a sadness, there is a disappointment, there is a fear. Whereas the Black women I find myself around, they're celebrating. To be honest, we're doing the most sometimes. It's like, how old are you turning? And it's just like, oh, 35. Oh, so this is not your 40th birthday? It's not your 50th? It's not your 21st. We're just celebrating birthdays. It doesn't matter what birthday it is. We are celebrating, we are loving on ourselves, and we are enjoying the process, and we are valuing it, and we feel grateful to see another year. We feel grateful. And I love that. I love that about us. Now, birthdays have always been hard for me in the context of, again, my childhood, my family upbringing. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm one of those people who doesn't really like to plan anything, doesn't really like to, do too much. I'm quite a hermit, and, I'm recently learning that that might be around my neurodivergence. And I've kind of, I'm not really that person who wants to be celebrated in that way. However, as time has gone on, I have started to enjoy being celebrated a little bit more, or allowed myself to be celebrated a little bit more. But as I say, it's a bit of an interesting context and some nuance because of my upbringing, my childhood experiences, where that was not the norm for me, and it wasn't something that was encouraged or expected. And I think sometimes, strangely enough, when someone is trying to honor me and celebrate me, I can feel a little bit overwhelmed with that. So again, lots of different context to that. But what I will say is, in terms of actual aging and the fact that I am now a year older, I feel wonderful about that. I feel like this is more than I could have ever dreamed of, in terms of where I'm at, the age and stage in life, my family that I have. Very small unit, very, very, very small, very minimal people around me. But I feel so at peace because of that. I have cut ties, um, over the last year with so many people that I once may have called friend. And there's multiple reasons for that. Um, but it was with love, it's with peace. I'm at peace. And I feel like I am becoming so much more comfortable in who I am and in my own space and just in my authenticity. And I think with that comes, some loss, because for years and years of masking, you you mask, I suppose, to keep people around you. You mask because you don't want to upset people. You mask because, you want to fit in. If you're trying to fit in somewhere, then you don't fit in. And that's okay. And I think I've accepted that it's okay for me not to fit in. It's okay for me not to be the same or have the same views. It's okay that my values are different. It's okay that I care deeply. It's okay that I'm a sensitive soul. It's okay that I want to speak about things outside of, you know, what diet I'm on, or I don't know, the material things. It's okay. And I've accepted that, and I feel free and I feel good about it. And I feel that, you know what, so much happened in the last year. I qualified. I'm in a new job. I'm a working mom officially. I have two beautiful children, a beautiful husband who is so supportive and amazing. And life is not always easy. It's quite chaotic between all of us. But we have each other. I have my sisters, and I have an aunt. Like, I didn't expect again to have overseas family that I actually would build relationships with in the way that I have. And that's a real positive thing for me as well. But again, so limited. I have such, and I think that is what makes me feel, I'm starting to feel a little bit less heavy in my life. And actually, every time I age slightly more, I always say, well, I'm starting to feel the age I've always felt because I had to grow up really fast and experience, I've had to experience things that, younger people around me, many friends that would never even be able to, just could never consider because it's just not been their experience. And I think for me, I'm aging backwards. I'm being able to be a little bit more free and a little bit more, just me, just do the things that I want to do and that I enjoy. Like, me, the kids on my birthday, I wanted to do gardening. Is that a sign I'm getting old? Maybe it's a sign I'm getting old, but I wanted to do some gardening. Like, last year I was on this gardening streak. We have a home, we have a garden. I was so excited about that. And it's got all these beautiful flowers and trees, and it's just got lots of biodiversity within the garden. And I absolutely love it. And so it was wonderful. But I had just started a new job last year. And, don't get me wrong, we enjoyed that garden every single day. We must have barbecued 7 days straight at one point. So we have enjoyed it, but I was not able to start sowing my seeds because I so desperately want to just grow my own food for our family and just be out there. I just want a homestead, and that's actually where I'm at. So aside from the fact that my job sometimes can be incredibly overwhelming, and I do question the amount of effort and devotion and energy that I have to put into it, specifically when compared with the fact that I want to be homesteading, I want to be home editing, I want to be, mother. I want to be mother with my babies, my little chickpeas. I want to be doing all of that. Um, and sometimes, work can make you feel like you're not kind of quite where you want to be. So I'm definitely in a space of, you know, how do I earn this passive income? How do I get my family to where I want my family to be, so that we can have this time and this freedom and this flexibility to do the things that matter to us, that we're passionate about. And oftentimes that's just being together, spending time, and also following our passions. Um, you know, Again, I think that there is an element of neurodivergence to this, but I don't know that I am suited to corporate life, to academia, to 9 to 5, to, I'm a very creative soul, and I have this desire to grow and to create. And I don't know, in some ways I can do that within academia, and I love the parts of that do allow me to be creative. I love the fact that I can, pour in to the students and support people, and it feels wonderful in those, ways. But also, there's a lot of other background, admin, that kind of thing. There's a lot of politics and things that I just, my soul really doesn't connect with. I'm a very sensitive soul. I'm a very open, honest person. And I really struggle with kind of, I suppose, I can read between the lines, but I struggle with having to do that all the time. I just want to be able to be. And I don't really feel that within that environment, I can just be who I am. And that for me has recently felt quite, limiting, but also, um, I think there is a space for me in this environment. I think that kind of it is needed, but I'm not always. It is needed from a student perspective, but I feel that it's difficult, from a colleague perspective. So just navigating that, and trying to balance not overthinking, because my mind, it whirs. Shall we just say, there's a lot of thinking and overthinking, and I'm trying to just trust the process and see where I will arrive, um, and wherever, as long as I kind of, what it is that within my role, it is so busy, it is so constant, it is so cognitively overloading. There are politics, there are challenges, there are issues, there are complaints, there are all of these different things going on. And then, of course, there's your actual workload: teaching, prepping, planning, researching, um, lots of things, admissions, placements, all of these different things going on constantly. You don't really get a moment to really think. So whenever someone says to me, "Oh, how are you getting on with your new job? How are you enjoying it? Do you like it?" My mentor asked me that the other day, and I felt so terrible because every time she asks me this, I just don't feel like I respond in a very positive way. And the fact of the matter is I just don't think I've even had a moment to truly take a step back, remove all the kind of negative, challenging things that I've spoken about, and go, how do I actually feel in this role? How do I feel as a lecturer? Is this something that I feel that I enjoy? It's hard. It's hard because, as I say, it is constant. And I think, as much as I love to keep busy, as much as I like to be moving around and doing things and going from here and going from there, and I don't mind that kind of thing. I think when I worked in, a hospital unit, it was in mental health, but it was very much that I was on this ward, I was on that ward, I was over there, I was over there, and I think maybe within this role, that feels like a little less. I'm now a registered professional. There are expectations. And so, it's a constant feeling of having to be mindful of yourself and how you come across and how you're approaching students and people and individuals and just in general. So it's hard sometimes to feel truly at peace, not to be overthinking things, not to be worrying about things. And I like to hope that with time, as time goes on, I find that I'm comfortable, but yes, I think what my body, my mind, my life, what I crave is just rest. I crave rest, you know. And when I say rest, I just mean slow living. I just crave slow living. I enjoy being out and about. I enjoy walking and hiking and going and being out in nature and teaching my children and being by water and the sea and in the forest, and just I love all of that. My soul craves that. And I think, my childhood traumas aside, when I was growing up and I was a home schooled, home educated child, very much deschooled child, I had that freedom, and I didn't really understand it or appreciate it at the time because I just thought, oh wow, I think I don't have any friends. You know, there were so many of us kids within the household. There were seven of us. So, we had each other. And it was only when, you get to teenage years and you are starting to think about, dating and all of those things that you start to care and go, oh, I just feel like I don't really know anyone. And then when you realize, oh my goodness, I'm super shy. I'm really shy compared with maybe other people. But again, as I've aged and I've looked back and I've reflected on my life and even, all the hard parts of my life, um, some of which still impact me to this day, some of the challenges that I'm still going through to this day. Um, I just reflect and I'm like, you know what? That's what I mean. I'm just so happy to still be here and so proud of how far I've come and what I've achieved, in spite of my circumstances. So I I can only be but grateful to be 35. 35. I know there'll be people watching it going, 35? Really? Is that old? Which is so funny because I know it's not. I know it's not. But in this strange, warped society, we have begun to tell women, young women, that, 30 and that's it. Life ends. 30? What do you mean you haven't done this by 30? What do you mean you don't have any kids? What do you mean you're married? You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. Like, and again, that's not my experience. Obviously, I have children. I am married. We're just talking patriarchal ideals anyway right now. But my point is that message still stands for all of us. Like it's one of those things where you just think, am I really a husband? Am I really not a whole valuable person because I'm now I'm I'm midway to 40? Absolutely not. Like, what a ridiculous way to view life. Honestly, what a ridiculous way. And I just think more women need to kind of just decondition themselves because I just think we get better with age. We have more wisdom. We're just more authentic. We're who we are, and I think that's a wonderful thing. Um, Again, it's a work in progress for me. I am working on outwardly expressing myself more and more and more, um, verbally expressing myself more and more and more, and just being honest. And yeah, this next year, I'm sure more positive things will come, and I'm sure I will unmask more and more, and I'm sure that I will be turning 36 feeling equally, if not more, amazing out the stage and space that I am in my life. So, yes, happy birthday to me and happy birthday to anybody who just recently celebrated and kind of thought, oh, yeah, fine wine, fine wine. Because that's how I'm looking at myself and at my aging journey. I feel good. Feel good. And I wanted to share it because I think we hear so much of the other message. We hear so much of the other message, or if, well, I do anyway. And I don't get it. I struggle with it because again, and I do think, I have a tendency, some might say, to bring everything or to see and view everything through a racial lens. But I do think that many things can be seen through a racial lens, an intersectional lens. And I do think that that is the difference between the way I view aging versus the way some other demographics might. But let me know what you think. Is there a difference? Do you find that Black women are often celebratory about the different milestones that they hit in their aging and celebrate themselves and want to have a big old party and just enjoy it and be like, yes, I'm aging? Do you think that it actually is influenced by beauty standards and this idea of infantilized women and patriarchy and all of that stuff? Or do you think there's no difference at all? And do you find that it just varies? And of course, we're never going to blanket statement anybody. Um, but in general, that's just my personal experience of what I have seen and what I have experienced. Um, but yeah, I am trying to do a little bit more skincare, to be honest with you. But that's just because, again, it just feels like self care. It feels like self care. But who knows? Maybe subconsciously it's because I'm 35 and I'm like, yeah, I gotta work on it now. Gotta make sure I maintain my youth. But no, I don't think it is that. I'm just enjoying being able to engage in those wonderful things of self-care and aesthetics and beauty, things that I wasn't able to do um, for such a long time. And again, doing these things without guilt, being a mother who works and thinking, goodness, every other waking hour needs to be poured into my children and my family. And having those moments to just go, you know what? You can have a moment to yourself as well. Although I did actually do makeup with my little one this morning because she's been asking me for weeks and weeks if we could do makeup. And so we did that together and we styled our hair in a very similar, she's got a very similar look going on right now with um, her braids. Um, and yeah, it's just those little moments, you know, they're just nice. They're just nice to have. Um, and I enjoy them and I enjoy the space that I'm in. I just wish I had more time for those kinds of things. I really am in my mothering era. And so, yeah, more needs to be explored. We will see what happens. Keep watching this space and coming along with me on my journey. Anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe if this was of interest to you, if you could relate to it, if it feels relevant. Um, I'd love to build a community here. And as I like to talk about so many different things. I think I must have talked about so many different things in this video alone. But I'm just finding my way with YouTube and I'm just kind of speaking off the cuff at this point. So if that is something that you like and you kind of are interested in things that are a little less manufactured, a little less, put together, let's be real, then yeah, stick around. Anyway, speak soon. Bye.